Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Daniel Baird, and I'm an event facilitator here at McNally Robinson Booksellers. And before we begin, I would like to acknowledge that we are on Treaty 1 territory, and that the land on which we are gathered is the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, the Ninawac, Anishinaabe, Dakota, and Dene peoples, as well as the homeland of the Red River Métis. Additionally, McNally Robinson Booksellers itself rests on the land once occupied by the Métis community of Roostertown. And of course, we are gathered here today to celebrate the Winnipeg launch of Born Ready, an actor's handbook, brought to you by Cairn A. Cairn A. Thank you goes out to J. Gordon Shillingford Publishing for publishing this book and making this evening a reality. Yeah. So as soon as I'm out of here, the flow is going to go. I'm going to do a quick introduction for our folks here. It'll move into a conversation, and then interspersed throughout the conversation, there's going to be some acting exercises that are brought to you directly from the book, which will take place right over here where I'm at. So we'll try to cheat out as best as possible. We're going to project to all of you, because of course we're all theater people here. And then I'll be out of here to review sign procedure at the very, very end. But for now, of course, I have the pleasure of introducing tonight's host. Andrew Davidson is the New York Times bestselling author of The Gargoyle. Woo! Yeah. Translated into 30 different languages. He currently owns and operates the Gargoyle Theatre, a Winnipeg venue that presents original works by Manitoba-based theatre creators. So please join me in welcoming Andrew Davidson.
Well, thank you all very, very much. Please let me know if the volume's good or if I sound like I'm shouting at you. I also want to throw out a couple of thanks. I want to thank, of course, J. Gordon Shillingford for publishing this book that you now have in your hands. Let's give it up to the publisher. Natasha Robinson for providing the venue. And for Sophie and Natasha, who are here to help us out, can you tell us just a little bit about yourselves? Just a little bit.
Sure. Hi, I'm Natasha. I have, well, I'm an actor here in Winnipeg, and I've taken several courses with Cairn, going back to when there was a theater school at PT. I'm not going to say how long ago. I don't want to date myself. And has been part of her adult company for a few productions now.
My name is Sophie. I've been working with Cairn since I was 14 years old.
She's aging.
She went to see a show I was in and kind of cornered me afterwards and wanted me to join her youth company at PTE. So I did, and I kind of haven't left. So it's been a while, but it's been really fun. So we've been lots of stuff.
Yeah, lots of stuff. Yeah, and of course, the lady of the evening, who is an actor, a director, a playwright, the owner and operator of the Actor Studio, in which she teaches actors of all ages and skill levels, including this one's here, and now a published author of this book.
Yay.
I first met Cairn about 3.5, 4 years ago. I run a podcast called Live at the Gargoyle, and in that podcast, I talked to Winnipeg creators and theater makers, and she was one of the very first people that I reached out to. And I'm so glad I did, because it was a lovely conversation. I think we talked for well over an hour.
Yeah, that's great.
And in that conversation, 4 years ago-ish, one of the things that she talked about on the bucket list was a book that she was going to write called Born Ready. And here we are 4 years later.
Wow.
I really can't see her talking about herself. I'm going to read a little bit right out of the book. And so the experiment began with my students as my unwitting lab rats. Before presenting their scene or monologue, I would ask, "Are you ready?" Most of the time, they would respond with a low energy, "Yeah," or "I guess," or give me a handful of excuses about having zero time to rehearse, putting them in a negative headspace before they even open their mouths. Note to self, never start your scene or monologue with an apology. That's when I told them that no matter how they were feeling at that moment, or whether they believed the words coming out of their mouths, they needed to reply to the question, "Are you ready?" with a very enthusiastic, "Born ready." If they gave 50% enthusiasm instead of 100%, I'm going to say it again. So using this as a guide, we're going to start tonight's evening with, are you guys out there, are you ready for this event? I don't know, is that 100%?
I saw it go higher.
It could go.
Yeah.
Are you ready for this event? Tell me a bit more about being born ready.
Being born, I have always had this feeling with everyone that I've worked with, that everyone's creative. So when people say, "Oh, I can't act and I'm not creative," I just don't believe it. I just believe we're all born creative beings. So if you get these little blocks for whatever's happened to you in your life and your life experience, and then you just learn how to push those out of the way and find your creative self. And I truly, honestly believe that you're all born ready. Just stuff happens. You gotta clear that stuff away to get to the good stuff.
Yeah. Well, if we're all born ready, how come it took us so long to get this book from?
That's a very good question. It took me a while to write it, and it was all accumulating in my brain over a long time. So this is like 30 years of things in my head that I wanted to share. And as I got older, I said, well, better share it now. You never know, right? So
Yeah, and one of the things that I always make a note of when we have a book on something like acting is why? Why from you? Why when there's so many acting books out? And again, I want to quote you because
yeah,
you wrote it so well. If I were going to add yet another, mine needed to offer something different. For starters, it needed to be inclusive. Acting, after all, is for everyone. No fancy words to look up, just a conversational handbook that's fresh and inspirational, whether the reader has been taking acting classes in childhood versus coming on to the final chapter of their life. Following this little quote, the next paragraph talks about one specific student who was in that final chapter of their life.
oh, yeah. There was a woman, I was teaching at PT, there was a senior class, and I never taught a senior class. And it was hilarious because I think she was 90 something. And on the first class, I always go around and say, why are you here? What do you want to get out of this course? And she said, I want to write my eulogy. And I said, okay, we can do that. And she was the most colorful, beautiful lady. And she wrote her own eulogy and performed it, and we taped it for her. And I think she wanted to give it to her family because she wanted to make sure they knew, all her feelings, sharing all of those. And yeah, my work is very rewarding because I get a lot of experiences like that where people, it's very personal. Like acting is personal, right? You're putting your heart out there. So
yeah. Well, on the other end of 90 something, it's 14. Why did you corner Sophie?
I know her mother's sitting in the audience, and I've often wondered whether her mother thought I was crazy. Sophie's sister is also sitting in the audience, and I had the same experience with Molly, not knowing that they were sisters. They're very different, and not knowing that they were sisters. I couldn't take my eyes off her. She didn't have a huge part, but I just couldn't take my eyes off her. So I kind of cornered her, and her mother was like, oh, who's this, but she's very polite to me, and, yeah, I'm surprised that she let her sign up after that.
Well, it's very clear to me that one of the sort of cornerstones of your philosophy is that acting really is for everyone.
It is.
It's not the end, you don't have to be aiming at being a professional, you know, you take the class. Why, if there's somebody out there who wants to take the class, why should they?
Because no matter who you are, you'll leave, more confidence. You'll leave finding yourself, maybe finding your true self, discovering your creative side. I've yet to meet anyone taking a class that regretted it. They're always afraid on the first day. It's like the first day of kindergarten all over again. Everybody's scared in the room, and then, they do a class, and by the end of the class, they're laughing and they're having a great time, and making friends. So I don't care why you're there. I don't care if you're there to make new friends, or you're there because you're afraid of public speaking. I've heard it all. I've coached lots of corporate people in, standing up and being confident and not having as much fear. So I think it should be compulsory for everyone to take an acting class, but.
Yeah. Well, how did you first come into acting?
It started when I was about 5. I was always acting. If you ask my parents, I was always acting. I was always a drama queen, even as a kid. So I was the youngest of 5, and there was twins before me. So, I really had to make sure I got noticed. So that's kind of where it started, and then I just kept going.
And did you take acting classes, or did you just go into community theater, or what was the introduction?
When I moved to Winnipeg, there was a place called Actors Showcase, and I didn't know anybody. I came here from Ontario, we're very different vibe. And I took acting classes there, and I begged my dad to put me in classes, and that's kind of where it started. But I was always doing theater. I did and I can't sing very well, but I did a thing in school in grade 1, and all I remembered that I totally blanked, like I closed my eyes and I was singing, and then I just remember opening my eyes and I just saw everybody clapping really hard, and I thought, this is really fun. I think I'll keep doing this. So that's kind of how it happened.
And how did you make that progression from being a child who's having fun and in theater to making it a profession?
I kind of always knew, like, I was never I always said theater. So, I was always something that I did and wanted to do. And when I'm not creating, even if it's like painting a fence in my backyard, I'm unhappy. So it's a must do for me. It fulfills me.
Okay. And was it acting that you began before you started writing as well?
Yes, for sure. I didn't start really writing. There's a lovely lady in the back row named Arlie sitting back there. It's kind of her fault, and another woman named Joanna Stein got me. Where we would write on our feet. We were a comedy troupe, and we wrote, and not in the same way, but that got me started, and I didn't realize until I started playwriting how much all of that paid off.
Right. And I know you've written a number of plays. Which was the first one that you wrote?
A play that was first called Absolute Perfection, but it came to be known as Absolute Perfection because I'm a Habs fan. Sorry, Jets people, I'm sorry. Yeah, so that was really my first play, and Hope McIntyre's in here somewhere. Hope made that happen through Sarah's Body Productions, and And then it was workshopped and then produced. It was wonderful without hope, that was gonna happen. So that was my start. And my good friend Allison, who kept encouraging me along the way. A lot of people encouraged me to write.
And I know that who we love and back there,
Yes.
that she was actually a co-writer on books as well. Tell me a little bit of
Yeah.
the work you produced with her.
We wrote a play called Jail Baby together, and now Hope is still working in the prison system. We went to different prisons across Canada and did theater, so they would get something out of it. We did theater with them, taught skills. We learned a lot. And it was like a 2-year process to write that play. And Corey Wojcik's here too, he was in it. He's a wonderful actor. Yeah, so that Jail Baby, and then we did a play called Breaking Through, which was about mental health. And that was another one where we spent quite a bit of time, not as much, but putting it together.
Yeah, well, since we're talking about Hope,
Yes,
I'm actually gonna quote her because she wrote the foreword to this
she
book.
did.
And who could be a better choice than Hope?
No one.
No one at all. And it really underlines what I think that you're really getting at in this book. She says, the beauty of acting is how it allows us to become more human and more humane. Embodying another person's lived experience changes us, whether we plan to be professional actors or not. A little bit of ellipses. I see firsthand the transformational potential of theater. So picking up this book and choosing to explore the topic is a wonderful step in personal and or professional development. And I throw it open to Natasha at this point.
For sure.
And tell us a little bit about what it's like to work with you.
For sure. So when I did my little intro, I mentioned that I first met Kieran way back when at Prairie Theater Exchange, and we'll just say life took me on a few different journeys. And when I couldn't ignore that pull of being on stage or doing theater or acting, I was searching for theater schools again in Winnipeg. And after I realized Prairie Theater School was closed, and I came across Kieran Moore, and I'm like, I remember her. I took classes with her. And after being away for so long, I knew that I wanted to get in contact with her again because I felt she'd be perfect for where I was at, like feeling a little more vulnerable after being away for so long. And I knew I could trust her with that process. And when we connected again, I was absolutely right. Just from that experience so many years ago. And again, she's very encouraging. I think one of the key things, and it's talked a lot about in this book, and same with forward written by Hope, like she creates a very safe place for you to be vulnerable and brave. So it takes a lot of bravery to be vulnerable in theater, and very encouraging. And because of the trust that I have with her, I think I can speak for many of her students. I have said to her many times, like, you can challenge me, you can push me, so I can keep going to that next level. And when it comes to working with her as a director, it's a very collaborative process, and she's always encouraging you to keep digging. Like, once this whole, like, you still stay true to obviously the play and the playwright and your character, but she loves it when us as cast keep finding new things with her characters or new scenes. So yeah, it's just been an incredible process, and reconnecting with Kieran, like again, like a number of different doors have opened for me, and we've had a chapter on it, like listening to your call. So she's likes to say that to me a few times, and could not be more grateful.
Well, I'd love to hear about what you mean by listening to your call.
I think we're all called. Sometimes I didn't listen to my call, or why am I here? What am I supposed to be doing? I'm supposed to be acting and I'm teaching, But it's true, like my students would often say to me, you should put all this together in a book. And I go, yeah, okay, whatever. And it was the pandemic that made me go, yeah, maybe I should listen to that call. But whenever I have, sometimes you get scared and you chicken out, right? And I've done that, and then as I got older, I just said, why not? What's the worst thing that can happen? I'll just put it out there. Like my first play with Scirocco is, all I did was ask, and they went, okay, and I went, what? You're gonna publish my play? Okay. Yeah, so I think just leaving yourself open, like if somebody keeps telling you, oh, you'd be an amazing actor, or you're so creative, or listen to those people. They're trying to tell you something and you're being called to something. And I think we're all called to different things, right? As creative people, we're called. So listen to the call.
And it's interesting because one of the through lines of this book really is to embrace your fear, step up to your fear, make friends with your fear almost. What was the fear that kept you from writing this book for so long?
Well, I was writing plays a
Yeah.
lot, but it was also, yeah, like, what if they don't like it, or has this been said before? I want to say something new, and then I just started by writing stuff down. Like I'd write for like an hour a day, and I just write things down, like, and I didn't want it to be a how-to book. Like this is an acting exercise. I didn't want that. It's more, the book is more, try this, try that. And even if you're not an actor, you'll still get something out of it, for sure.
Yeah, and that's actually one of the things that I really enjoyed about the book. While there are definitely parts that are how to, here's
Yeah,
how you do
yeah.
it, here's how you score a scene, here's how you break down the script.
Yeah.
A lot of it is sort of like helping the actor get out of their own way.
So true.
Of so much value here,
Mhm.
as well as other things like talking about, Natasha was talking about the safe space that you create. I know you talk a lot about consent in this book.
Mhm, mhm.
How is theater changing that? I mean, what do you mean by 5 C's of consent?
Consent is the greatest thing that's ever happened. I mean, I talk about an experience I had in my 20s where I was in a bra and underwear for 12 hours, and I didn't have the courage to say, will you clear the room, please, of these 20 people I don't know. I didn't have the courage to say that. So now, thank goodness, with the Me Too movement, I think that really changed things. So being very specific. So if I have to kiss somebody in a scene, how long's the kiss? Are they gonna touch my hair? Are they gonna put their hands around my waist? I wanna know all of that. There should be no guesswork. It should be consensual. But because I'm a dinosaur and I'm a touchy person, I forget sometimes with my students, and I'm like, oops, sorry, I forgot to ask consent to demonstrate touching you. So it's just, but consent's a big thing, and thank God it's happened. It's just a lot safer environments, and where actors want to please, right? They want to do a great job, and they're afraid, if I say no, maybe I'll never work again. So now they know they can say it, and consent today doesn't mean consent next week. I might change my mind about that slap or that. Even yelling is intimate. Like people don't. If you've got another actor yelling at you and you grew up in the yelly house, it might be very uncomfortable for you. So you just have to listen to that.
Yeah, well, given that we're talking about the safe space in which the teaching and the acting occurs, going over to Sophie, you can tell us a little bit about what it's like to be taught in an acting class like here. That'd be terrific.
Like, one thing about her that's very different to other directors and teachers I've had is she really embraces like the individuality of the person. And lots of people, I feel like, and lots of directors, there's like this kind of mindset that a lot of things about acting is that you're very much putting on a facade or like putting on a mask. But I think with Cairn, she takes a different approach where it's more so about finding the truth within the character and the piece of work, and not necessarily putting in all that stuff that you don't have to put in. You're just kind of finding the character from yourself, and that is actually in a way kind of harder than putting just putting it out there and just putting on a show. She makes it safe for you to kind of express that, and if you don't get there, then it's okay. You can try again tomorrow. And if you don't get there in that one show, then we'll do another show and we'll try to get to that one like emotional place then. So it's just kind of finding the truth and the individuality with each actor, and the fact that some actors are at different places than others emotionally as well. And that's okay. And it's really nice and it's safe. And I think that helps make a more loving community, and a better actor.
Okay. And how, when you're looking at a young actor or older actor and they're coming in, how do you go about deciding how you're going to lead them to their best acting self?
If I have a gift, I think it's reading people. So Sophie's a great example. Is she was very shy when she came in, and I know one day we were just rehearsing a scene, and I could just see her wanting to move, and I said, Sophie, you want to move? Like, move. And then she started moving, and after that, she went nuts. She went crazy. Every rehearsal, she went bigger and bigger and bigger, and just had a great time. And I think it was just she needed somebody to say, hey, I can see what's inside of you there. I can see it. So why don't you let it out, right? So yeah, I mean, I try and really listen to each person that comes in the door, and that every person is different. Every person that walks in the door, but I think we all have a lot of things in common. Like there's always a little piece missing from everybody emotionally. We all have trauma in our lives, so is to be gentle with that, and at the same time help people really have a joy in expressing themselves, and it's okay to be who they are, whoever they are.
So is it safe to say that you don't subscribe to a certain system? You're not teaching Stanislavski, you're not teaching Miles.
I like Stan. He's
Okay.
a good guy. Tom's looking at me like, no, I like Stanislavski a lot, but there's no one method, I think, for everyone. I mean, I think it's depend. I try and teach a little bit of everything. I really like Stan. I think Stan's a good thing to start with Stanislavski and learn the sort of heady thing, you know, like in your head, scene analysis, all that kind of stuff. But then I met Mr. Tom Stroud, who's sitting over there, and he kind of changed my life. So then I started working emotionally, and it was so freeing. I couldn't believe how you could play any emotion. Like I was so doubting his whole theory, and he said, come and try it, and I did, and I've been learning from him ever since. He's very mind-blowing, so.
Okay, first of all, I just want to say that I think it's absolutely wonderful that somebody who's been teaching acting for decades is also taking acting lessons.
I love being a student. It's the greatest thing. It really is. Because I know whatever I'm learning, I want to take it back to my students, and I'm always trying to find safe ways to teach things that I learned from Tom in a small way, because it requires a lot of training. But I've had maybe 2 life-changing experiences since I've gone to theater school, and one was the voice intensive, which I know Tom did as well, and the other one was working with Tom.
Well, talking about bringing it back to your students, I think this might be the time. If the audience is ready, are you ready to see some acting experiences? Are you ready? One more time. Are you ready? Okay, well, let's get students up here.
Okay,
Teacher up
all right,
here.
now we have to
We
be
have to
vocal.
move the mic a little bit. It's the obstacle course to get to the action part of the evening.
So we're told over here that we project because our mics are over there. So we're gonna do the best we can, right, ladies?
Awesome.
Yeah. Okay, so we just thought we'd just do a few little things. just more how we might warm up in an actual class, in case any of you are thinking about signing up for that. So another thing I talked about in my book, shameless self-promotion. Promote yourself and chance to get, right? So we're just gonna start with the warm up, but I know there's active studio students here, and my friends, my dear friends. So if you want to join us, that would be great. We're just gonna do the vocal warm up. Anybody that's been in my class has done this. So we're just gonna do the O. Okay, so an O. So we warm up. We want to warm up our voice from the top of our head to here. It's a great fast warm up. And so you can put your hand. You can try it if you haven't done it before. It's fine. Put your hand on your tummy, and then we're just gonna do an O. So you want to form your lips in an O. Ready? We're ready. O. Awesome. Now we'll go to an awe. So an awe is going to put your palm on your sternum. You should feel vibration here. You put your palm right here, and you're going to drop your jaw like you do at the dentist. And do awe. It helps me put my hand on your head. You don't have to, but you can. It's optional. And it's a falsetto voice. So give me the biggest fake smile you can make, and then. You're so born ready. Now you get the vowel. You go with the O or the E. So the O's are going to start and the O's are going to come in. And these are going to come in. And we're going to feel this really nice vibration of the audience here. All right. So if you want to get O, you can start anytime you want. Go ahead. And then the O's can join in. Nice buzz up there. Okay, so we'll do some bullet dabba. And then and then let's do the O and the E. O E O E O E O E O. And then we'll just do one more thing. This is just a little improv thing. So I'm going to point. I see this on last minute. Okay. So I'm going to point to. I'm going to say, "This is my nose." And Sophie's going to point to where I said I was pointing to, and say something else to Natasha.
This is my eyebrow.
This is my mouth.
This is my right shoulder.
This is my kneecap.
This is my foot. This is my belly button.
This is my collarbone.
This is my left ear.
This is the front of my head. Close enough.
This is my phalange.
This is my shoulder blade.
We'll end there. Thank you.
I'd love to see some vowels.
Okay. Pressure on us. Okay. So this is just a quick way. It's a great way for actors this is a really good thing to do for parent training. It's learning how, so if we just say, oh, the places you'll go, that's kind of boring, right? But if we stretch the words and we pull on the vowels are usually about passion and love. They're all about the heart. And consonants, if you know something that lets your ducks in a row, they'll hit their consonants, right? So we're gonna vowel and consonant, but first I'll just read this really boring. All the places you go. You wanna listen? No. You're a 2-year-old, you've already tuned up, right? So we're gonna vowel. We're just gonna do a couple of things. So I'll start just pass the Pokemon just so you can hear the difference. Okay. Oh, the places you'll go by Dr. Seuss.
Congratulations! Today is your day. You're off to great places. You're off and away. You have brains in your head. You have feet in your shoes. You can street yourself any direction you choose.
And that's all. We'll stop there. No worries. But when you're talking, when you're speaking, if I'm passionate or I'm about the love, if I was playing Juliet, I'm not gonna say Romeo, wherefore Romeo. That's kind of boring. But if I say Romeo, that's what it's like. So this is the end of our class participation.
Yeah, we'll allow them a moment to get seated. There we go. Before we started tonight, you told me that you really liked it when I just threw phrases from the book out at you and I asked you to elaborate on them.
Because I'm born ready, Andrew.
You are born ready.
Yeah, I'm born ready. Bring it.
If I were to say to you, embrace your fear and celebrate your failure, what would that be about?
Oh, the greatest thing to discover. I had a teacher at BOW that named Rick Skeen, who taught me to celebrate falling down. So it was a mime and improv class. So if you knew your work was shit, you kind of went, okay, well, we actually had a tunnel of shame, and you would go to the tunnel of shame, but everybody applauded you, and it was like self-imposed. So everybody loved it. And I just loved the fact that he set up a room where their failure was a big part, because we're always taught in our culture that it's success, but there's a lot of failure before there's ever success. So if you give up or you don't try, that is the failure, right? That is the failure. It's always give it a shot. Like I've over and over again in my life, oh yeah, I'll write a play, or oh yeah, I'll start talking about writing a book called Born Ready, and then it'll just happen. And it does. I just say it out loud and then it becomes true, right? It's weird.
You are not an imposter.
You are not an imposter. Do we all feel like that sometimes? Like as an imposter, like who do I think I am? These people are listening to me and I don't really know what I'm talking about. All that goes through your brain, right? That you feel like you don't belong, or you shouldn't, or you're not good enough. You are. You absolutely are. So if you have written a play, or if you've written a scene, you're a playwright. If you've acted in a play, you're an actor. So it's just saying it out loud and be damned about what anybody thinks about that.
Work like a dog and play like a puppy.
Yeah, Hope and I had an interesting conversation about this, because originally I wrote work like a dog and I left out play like a puppy. But Hope knows this from working with me over the years. I'm a worker bee. I work really, really hard at everything I do in theater, and I realized at some points I hit the wall in a play that I won't mention, where I just couldn't write, and it was because I wasn't playing enough. I wasn't. you probably feel this way, Andrew, is that if you're just working all the time and you're not having fun, like taking time to go to the lake and see do ride, I'm looking at my husband right now, is very, very important. And spending time with friends. I've got friends here that are so dear to me. I'm gonna cry, stop it. Okay, but taking that time out makes you a better artist. It really does. If you're just working all the time, it's hard to create, right?
And unfortunately, it's an incredibly hard balance to achieve, and I think harder every day for a lot of us in this go society.
Yeah.
I know that this is a lesson that I absolutely need to take on myself, to just slow down, to give myself time to breathe, and for ideas to come and start forming themselves instead of me trying to push them.
Impose, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Surround yourself with cheerleaders.
Yeah, there's a lot of toxic people, you know. Surround yourself with people that believe in what you're doing, you know. Like as an actor, don't let anybody tell you there's some toxic teachers out there that shame people or there's no place for that. And if anybody tries to tell you that you shouldn't be in acting or why are you, I mean, they're the problem, not you. Right?
Did you ever personally have experiences with a toxic teacher? I know names, of course.
Well, I watched some toxic teaching. I spoke up and it didn't go well. I spoke up for I don't believe in getting actors on stage and humiliating them until they get it right. So what, are you gonna be here when I perform in that moment? And yeah, sure, I might have cried while I did it, but I was crying because I didn't feel good about myself. That's not okay.
Okay. Tell me, what is the janitor test?
The janitor's test, all my students know what the janitor's test is. Basically, when I was at U of W, I loved fight choreography, and I was doing a fighting scene that was quite long with a very tall man. He was about 6'3", big guy. So in the scene, I kick his butt at one point, but so we were supposed to rehearse every day at lunch and go through it to be safe. And somebody walked by, it was a lot of hair pulling, screaming, all that kind of stuff, and thought that I was getting beat up, and they phoned security, and security came down and made sure I was okay, and I told Rick about it, Rick Skeen, and he said, well, now he's a big fight choreographer for movies, but he said, well, you passed the janitor's test. Because they believed it was true, that it was really happening. So I always stuck with that's always my test with students. I'll leave the room and come back and I'll ask them to create something. And if I know what it is, or it's a tableau, a picture or something, if I know the who, what, where, then they pass the janitor's test. If not, we keep doing it.
Okay. You know what? I feel as though we have been talking an awful lot.
Yeah.
I think it would be a really wonderful time we're gonna come back at the end and take back from it, but I'd love to get some questions from the audience.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, actually, Daniel's still behind here? You be able to take this out into the audience for anybody who raises their hand? We're soliciting questions for Cairn. And don't be shy. Embrace your fear. Get it past it.
Yeah, so if you just want to raise your hand high enough for me to see, and then I'll come by over to you. We're going to try to stand up. There we go. No, yes.
I don't have a question, I have a comment. It's really wonderful to see Cairn here. She was the first person that I invited to my school to work with my students. Can't remember which school it was because it was a long time ago.
Right.
And after you came and worked with the kids and then you were no longer doing that, I just looked for others that were also involved in theater. So it was to provide the students with opportunities that they wouldn't otherwise have had. So I thank you for that.
Oh, that's so sweet. That's very nice. I spent a lot of time up north too, and it was really, really rewarding experience. Yeah, going into schools taught me how to teach, I think.
I teach.
Hi, Lisa.
Wonderful. Can't wait to paw through this book. Is there anything after you published the book that you went, gee, I wish I'd put that in? Because now I think the writing bug might get you going on book number 2.
Andrew asked me that. I said I have a bucket list, and one, I'm saying it here because I know if I say it, then it will come true. You just say it and it comes true, it's true. Is that this was a one book deal. And then I have 2 other things on my bucket list, which is a short film. I can tell you what it's called, The Man on the Beach, just so when I write it, you know that I said it here today, so then I have to make it come true. And what else do I want to do? I want to write one more play, a hockey play about women in hockey. So I'm stating it now. There's ladies in this room that have already started workshopping this play. So it's very exciting because women have been playing hockey as long as men, but a lot of people don't know that, so.
Hi, nice to meet you.
This is my son, by the way.
Oh, as an educator myself, I've found that my students have been able to teach me an awful lot about music, and they've been able to show me that, you know, the things that I'm saying maybe I should be doing them too. Have you ever had any experiences where that sort of thing happened?
Where my students teach me every single day. Every time I have a class, I learn something from them. I would say I learn as much from them as they learn from me. And a true, like we're doing a show right now, a true collaboration. We have so much fun, and it's so reciprocal, and it's just it's like a 2 or 3 hour play date. It's just pure fun. And yeah, I learn all the time from them. And they also, you know, say this isn't cool or this isn't working for me, and I appreciate that too. I want to know all that.
We have time for a few more questions there. Yeah.
Hi, dear teacher.
Hi, Christine.
So this might not be so related to Born Ready, but you're saying how you've just spoken something and it becomes truth. Can you briefly share like your process, like how you got to this, how this book got written and
COVID. I was going crazy. I was painting everything in my house, and then I thought, oh, maybe I'll just write some things down, and I just started. But like Andrew said, I talked about it for a long time. That's what I usually do. I talk about it, it percolates, and then I keep saying it to people because it holds me accountable. They're like, hey, where's that book you were saying you were gonna write that you haven't written, right? So it kept me accountable. And then I have a writers group. There's 2 of them over there, my darlings, hi. And we share, we go to the lake and we share, and they help me in that process too by encouraging me to keep going and things that they liked in the book and stuff like that. So I think saying it out loud is really important, is sharing it with people that mean something to you, not people that are negative. Your cheerleaders, say it to your cheerleaders, and yeah, and that's kind of how it happened with everything I've done. I started talking about absolute perfection. I started talking with Hope and Allison. I remember the exact day we were walking down the street from a wind up, and I said, hey, Hope, I have this idea. And she said, well, tell me what it is. And I told her my idea, and Allison was there, and they both encouraged me, and then I submitted. So it's submitting. I mean, you don't always win, right? But if you just keep submitting, and if Karen, bless her heart, said yes, but if she said no, I would have just kept going. I'm like a dog with a bone.
I think we have time for another question there, if anybody has one. Okay.
Well, I'm gonna follow up with this comment about keep submitting and just talk a little bit about myself, because you haven't heard much about me.
No.
And there's a playwriting competition every year, it's called the Little Ottawa Playwriting Competition, and it costs $25 to enter, and I enter it every year. And I don't care at all if I win. I'm paying myself $25 to make sure that I complete a one-act play every December.
That's
So
great.
I like this idea of like, just, sit down, do it, submit it. Don't worry about what the outcome is going to be, because you have no control over that.
I remember you saying that to me and I was so jealous because I didn't care about the outcome. He was like, maybe it'll get published, maybe it won't. I was like, really? Like, that's my goal, but
But either way, whether you don't care about like the outcome, whether it's published or not, you want to sit down and think it out.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Gives you a reason to write, yeah.
Well, we're gonna head towards the end of the evening, in which we make Kieran cry. But first, we're going to go, and you both read the book, I'm sure, right?
Absolutely.
What did you like about it? Why should these very fine people pick up the copy?
Oh, I can go first.
Yeah.
It's really written, Kieran wrote it in a way that you can, I felt like she was right there speaking to me. Like, she wrote it very easy and friendly to read, with also like kind of a, like, there's no fluff. She's like right to the point. And like, I was rereading it again to prepare for tonight, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I needed like these very encouraging words right about now. So this is great. And then reviewing some of the techniques. Like, I feel like it's an all-encompassing book where it can encourage you. There's some great techniques, like I've taken the amazing emotional spectrum patterns workshop with Tom Stroud, and so
Hey, Tom.
like to see that covered, because I think would be great for more people to be aware of that. And like breaking down and seeing like there's just so many little different areas I think benefit. Again, whether you're wanting to do this for fun or you want to be a little more serious about it, I think it's a great book for everybody.
Yeah, and I do want to point out that we've talked an awful lot about sort of the psychological help that it offers, and that this sort of self-help, getting out of your own way aspect of this book. But it really does have some very powerful, this is what you do to break down a scene. This is how you analyze a script. Here's how you make decisions about what to play and how to play it. So while you say it's not a how-to guide, it is also a how-to. Sophie, what did you like about the book?
I guess kind of building on that, I guess the word I would use is it's very accessible. But like in the sense that it kind of files down the idea of acting being like, oh, in order to act, I have to be like on Broadway or something like that. It's kind of like, okay, here we're gonna break it down into chapters. Here are some things, and then it's kind of it's a tool for someone to be like, okay, I can take a deep breath and I can start from page 1, and I can start with these simple things like going through scenes and like annotating it and things like that, which she talks about in the book as well. But also kind of like what Natasha said, it feels like she is talking to you, kind of. So like I was looking through lots of the scenes and I was like, oh yeah, I remember this. Yeah, we did this once. This feels very like I'm in a class with her. And so it's just really, I feel like it kind of reaches to different people and kind of helps kind of go to a starting place so everyone can read it.
And for you, Karen, what did you learn in the process of writing this book? What did you learn about yourself, or what was underlined that you really did already know, but you needed to just teach yourself again about acting?
I think my writing group was really helpful in that the stuff that I wrote about getting out of your own way and like don't shit talk, don't have negative thoughts in your head, don't start an audition with "I'm sorry." Stuff like that, like all that psychological stuff and fear. They really latched onto that. They were like, wow, this is, I really like this. I haven't read that in an acting book before, because there's lots of acting books out there. And yeah, that I learned how important that was, how important failure is, how important it is to just embrace it, let it happen, and just get back up again. I think the successful people in the world are people that are willing to fall down and bruise and skin their knee and get back up again.
Well, we are going to end this evening with a song, so we can look forward to that in a couple of minutes. But before we get to that, I know that you'd like to say something about one of Winnipeg's brightest lights that dimmed this week. Somebody really important to you.
And I promised I wouldn't cry, but it's your fault, Tom. You taught me how to cry. Just think Ian Ross passed away, a very dear friend of mine, and a bright light, a great writer, a great person. And I had a lot of laughs with him. I worked with him for many, many years at Prairie Theatre Exchange. And go buy his plays, or people let's produce some of Ian's work. Let's get back on the stage and people can remember his brilliance and his bright light.
Well, and tear or two coming out.
Yeah, that's one thing, when you turn on the emotions and you
Yeah.
learn to express them, it's sometimes hard to turn them off.
Let's bring it home with a song. I understand this is how you often wrap up your theater classes.
Yes.
It's called the River Song.
The River Song.
What do we do?
Everybody's gonna sing. Everybody's gonna sing. My students can sing. Should we try? Yeah. So if you've been in my class at one point or another, and I know there's quite a few of you here, yeah, I don't want it to, I feel the same way. So the River Song is just a woman named Barbara Poggle-Miller, who was an amazing teacher, one of my greatest mentors too at Prairie Theatre Exchange. She taught me this song, and she said, sing it to as many people, share this song. And I always have, when I go and do a workshop in the school, I get the kids singing it, I get adults singing it. So you don't want to hear me, so I'm gonna push this away a little bit. But will you guys help me out? Yeah. Okay, so, you. Okay, so we'll just sing it. So if you've been in my class, we will song, please help us out. River, she is flowing, flowing and growing. River, she is flowing down to the sea. Mama, carry me, child that will always be. Mama, carry me down to the sea.
I know that Daniel is going to probably say a couple of words in wrap up. I just want to remind you that Christmas is coming, and what could be a better gift under anybody's tree than an autographed copy of this very good book. And
while you're here, pick up Andrew's book, The Gargoyle.
It's so good.
It's so good.
Okay, yeah, just before we move on to the signing portion of this evening, let's hear a really big round of applause to all of you for being here. To folks who are watching. Special guests. Thank you. We're going to go into the signing portion of the evening, which is going to take place at the table to my right. Please feel free to have a copy of the book signed before you pay for it. Just make sure to go visit the couch desk before you leave. We do appreciate that. I'm going to move some of the chairs over here as well, just to make it a little bit more accessible for folks who are coming here. So you're going to see me coming around clearing some stuff. But yeah, lineup will start right over here. Thank you all again for being here. Thank you.
What?